Hi, I'm Holly, and with my sister Heather, you're listening to Haunted Family Podcast, a weekly podcast about the paranormal, unsolved mysteries, and even some true crime.
Can we really say weekly since we've actually skipped a week or two?
Well, we're going to say weekly because that's what we're supposed to be. And it should hold us accountable.
Well, yeah.
So this week is kind of everything.
It is. I mean, like, this whole story kind of encapsulates our whole podcast.
It does. And it gave me insane nightmares throughout my youth. And freaked me out about architecture to the point that if I saw a house that had windows like this house had, I would be terrified that it was haunted.
Yeah. But before we get into the story for today, let's remind our listeners about our giveaway.
Yay! So, listeners, remember, we have a giveaway going on.
It ends on Halloween. And for those of you who don't remember Halloween, it's October 31st. Same as last year.
What?
I think so.
And the year before that?
So, if you follow us on Instagram, which you really should because we're funny on Instagram, you've caught little glimpses of some of the things that we are including.
Yeah, it is a big box full of all kinds of random goodies.
Yeah. One of Holly's best-selling t-shirts.
Right, Salem Broom Company.
And then some items that we're working on for our Haunted Family Podcast merch shop, which I swear we will eventually get up and running.
We will.
Some cute little, like they're not plush, but they're like pillow dolls.
Yeah, they're so cute. Actually, they're not really dolls. They're like pillow monsters.
Yeah, they're monsters, but they're still cute.
They're cuddle monsters.
They're cuddle monsters. That's what we should call them when we list them.
We should.
And then a keychain that says Armchair Detective. Yeah. So we're really trying to gear it towards, all of the different listeners of Haunted Family Podcast.
Right. But I mean, come on, who does not want a Salem Broom Company shirt?
I want one.
Well, I mean, I have one and I wear it. Today I am sporting my new Kentucky shirt. Buffalo plaid, like letter K with Kentucky in the middle of it. If you are in Kentucky or just support Kentucky, you might want to check this out in the shop because I love it and it is so soft. I made this for myself too.
I embroidered myself some beanies this week.
Cute.
I rarely embroider things for myself. That's weird. I probably should.
You should.
I have an embroidery machine and I only do things for other people.
I have 2 embroidery machines and I still have you do my embroidery for me.
Okay, so today's topic.
Amityville.
Yes. It spawned, like, what, 1 billion movies?
And a book. And 1 million nightmares in my youth. Yeah. But see,
we actually thought about visiting, driving past the house because you can't actually,
go. People live there. It's a house.
Yeah. But we thought about driving past the house. But, yeah. We drove through New York really late at night after a grueling trip through New Jersey, and we really just wanted to make it to Massachusetts.
I know. Almost, getting through New Jersey was bad. People from Jersey, man, I do not know how you deal with your toll booths. They literally took a toll on me. But
yes.
But it was almost the icing on the cake when you come over the bridge and you're in New York and your car gets peed on.
I was in the sheriff's office paying the property taxes, and a friend of mine asked about talking about something, and our trip came up, and I made our sheriff crack up because I made a comment about how when we crossed the bridge into New York and we hit that final toll and it was like $1 billion, I was like, why don't you just pull a gun on me? You're already robbing me.
Well, I know, and I'm surprised that when we got across the bridge that it didn't happen. Because we hear all kinds of awful stories about New York. But actually, the brief time that we were in New York, it was fine. And seriously, upstate New York, y'all, that's like the world's best kept secret or something. Upstate New York is gorgeous. Everybody, well, it was dark when we drove through it the first time, but coming back home, we came a different way to avoid New Jersey. And so everybody slept while I drove through New York. And I'm telling you, like, I wanted to just kind of pull over and, like, buy us a house and just live in upstate New York. It's seriously one of the most gorgeous places I've ever been.
I see our next East Coast tour of pilot truck stops spending a little bit more time looking at some haunted places in New York.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so I pulled it up. There's like 20 some movies about Amityville. A lot of them are direct to video or limited theatrical releases. But that's an insane amount of film dedicated to
one house.
What probably was a hoax.
Right. Well.
Oh wait, I just sort of gave away what my feelings are about this place.
Right. Okay. So let's back up. So Ronald DeFeo Jr., everybody called him Butch, was a spoiled brat who was kind of the definition of a entitled monster. Like before, like people talk about millennials now. Well, he acted like people think millennials are.
And the funny thing is about millennials is that people don't realize that millennials are a very wide age range.
Right.
I'm a millennial, and both of your children are millennials.
I know. I am.
If you want to go by the person who actually invented generational studies.
Right. Well, anyway,
I actually got into an argument with that about somebody, and I was like, listen, these are the guys who invented that field of research. So what the age group that they say is millennials goes.
Right.
I'm sorry, but whatever you feel is wrong.
Okay.
Stop being a millennial.
Anyway, he was an entitled brat and kind of a bully, even to his parents. And it was to the point that they were just giving him money and hoping that he would leave them kind of alone,
And he wasn't a child. He was
early
20s.
He was like 23. And he, I'm air quoting, worked at the family's car lot. But he didn't really work. Like he often just left in the middle of the day. And nobody ever thought anything of it. So, on the morning...
But Holly, we knew people from school who had families that, owned businesses and was kind of a little better off who acted that same way.
Well, that's true.
They didn't go on to, murder their whole families, thankfully.
No, I'm not using that as an excuse. I'm just saying that's how he was.
Yeah.
And so on the morning of November 13th, 1974, he shoots the 6 other members of his family with a .35 caliber rifle. Now, he doesn't turn himself in as soon as this happens or anything. No. He goes to work the next day. Works until about noon. Goes to a bar that's near the house.
I mean, that's what I do.
Yeah. Hangs out for hours and then goes home, but comes rushing back into the bar at 6:30. And he is, it's Henry's Bar, for those of you in Amityville, Long Island. And he's screaming, "You've got to help. I think my mother and father are shot."
How do you just think?
Yeah, I don't know. So some people go back to the house, which is at 112 Ocean Avenue. Seriously, a gorgeous house on the lake or harbor. Not a harbor. I think it's the lake, right? Well, it's on the water. It has its own boat dock. It has its own pool. You know, this is a fancy, fancy house. These people go back to the house and they, of course, find DeFeo's parents dead, laying face down in the bed. And then they call the police. And then they search the house and they find everybody else in the family also dead. So Ronald DeFeo Sr., 43, shot. Louise DeFeo, 42, shot. Dawn, 18. Allison, 13. Mark, 12. John Matthew, 9. All of them shot with a .35 caliber lever action Marlin 336C rifle. So,
now, does any of the descriptions say whether or not he walked or drove to the bar?
I don't know.
I mean, I pulled it up. Both are totally possible. It's like a minute drive and it's like a 6-minute walk. So,
right, it didn't say, and so I don't know. But if I would say when he came there at noon, he probably drove because he was coming from the car lot. But then when he went back at 6:30, he probably walked it. His parents had bought the house in 1965, and I mean, like I'm saying, it was a gorgeous house.
Well, it is a gorgeous house. It's still there.
It's still a gorgeous
house. It occasionally
house.
comes on the market.
I don't know why. I would buy this house if I won the lottery Friday. I don't know why they only photographed the house from the side, though, because I think the front of the house is actually really pretty, too. But, I mean, that's beside the point, I guess. So, the police noticed, though, right off the bat that nothing is adding up in what Butch is saying. And he changes his story a lot.
He may have been spoiled, but he was not very smart.
No. So they initially just take him down to the police station to protect him because, you know, his entire family is slaughtered. So
and they're thinking, you know, hey, if there's a murder on the loose, this kid might be the next victim.
Right. So then he tells them that he thinks that it was a mob hit, Louis Fellini, but there were so many inconsistencies, so he decided to move on and say that he killed them, and that after he was finished, he took a shower, redressed, and discarded evidence like all of his bloodstained clothes and the rifle. And then that's when he went to work, you know, just as he normally would.
Sometimes.
Yeah, because he didn't go to work often. The trial started October 14th, 1975. His lawyer was William Weber. And Weber was trying to say that DeFeo was insane. And that he heard voices that urged him to carry out the killings. They had a psychiatrist, Daniel Schwartz, say that he was an abuser of heroin and LSD, and he just didn't know what he was doing at the time. Well, the jury did not buy it, and on November 21st, 1975, he was found guilty on all counts. He got 6 consecutive sentences of 25 to life. Now, he said at one time that he killed his dad because his dad was overbearing and pushy and bossy and, pretty much an authoritarian. And then that his mom killed everybody else and that he killed his mom. And then he said that his sister helped him, his sister Dawn, kill people. And then at one point he also said that a friend of his was there and helped him kill them. So, honestly, he's got so many versions of this story that we don't really know exactly what happened, other than he was involved. The weird thing I found, though, is that the gun did not have a silencer on it, yet nobody in their neighborhood heard the shots, which would have been like 8 shots.
I think it's weird that also there was no signs of struggle inside the house, so those shots had to have woken up other members of the family. Yet no one put up a fight. Each member of the family was found laying in their beds on their stomachs.
Right. Which to me does kind of say that there had to have been more than one person involved. Because, let's say that the parents were shot first. Each parent was shot twice. They were the only ones that had multiple shots. Okay, so that's 4 shots. I believe that if somebody next door to me shoots 4 times, it's going to wake me up.
Prosecution and defense had dueling psychiatrists at trial. The defense attorney brought in a psychiatrist who tried to make a case for Butch having dissociative identity disorder. Basically saying that the real Butch was sort of outside of his body watching the murders taking place.
Right. Dissociative personality disorder is what used to be MPD, multiple personality disorder, in case.
Yeah. That a different personality inside his body is what killed his parents and his siblings. And that Butch DeFeo, as, they knew him, was not the one who carried him out.
Yeah.
The prosecution's attorney brought in... The prosecution's attorney... That sounded dumb. It's been a long day, y'all. The prosecution brought in a psychiatrist who argued that he did not have dissociative identity disorder, but that he actually did have antisocial personality disorder. And that he was absolutely perfectly aware of what he was doing, but that he had no regard for what was right and what was wrong.
Right.
And ultimately, the jury found that the prosecution made a better case.
Right.
And I think one of the things that really did him in was the fact that he kept changing his story. And he still, to this day, keeps changing his story.
Right. Listen, people, if you decide to kill a bunch of people, or just decide to kill one person, stick to your story.
In 1990, he filed a motion saying that his sister Dawn killed most of his family members. And then he killed Dawn.
Yeah, crazy. So, that's the story of the murders. Pretty cut and dry. Butch did it. Butch got arrested. Butch is in jail.
According to Butch, he didn't do it, but there's strong evidence that he did.
Right.
Enough evidence that convinced the jury that he did.
Right. So, you've got the perfect setup for a haunted house.
Totally.
You've got a horrific murder of a bunch of people.
What would be considered a mass murder?
Right. So, a couple, Kathy and George Lutz, bought the house less than a year later.
They moved in on December 19th, 1975.
Right.
And they bought the house as is, meaning that most of the DeFeo family furniture was still in the house.
I wonder if as is meant, did somebody at least clean up the blood?
Probably. I would think the realtor did that.
So it said that as soon as they saw this house, their eyes lit up. They were super excited about this house. Now, I've looked at a lot of houses. I have a bit of a Zillow addiction. Like, I still look
I'm not looking for a house, and I still am obsessed with realtor.com and Zillow.
Yeah.
If I had $1.5 million, there's like 700 acres in Maine that I'd be buying right now.
Yeah.
My dogs are not usually in my house when I'm recording, but they are tonight. I don't put them outside. They're at somebody else's house.
They buy this house knowing that 6 people were murdered in it.
Yeah. They move in, and they got a bunch of kids.
Yeah.
Like, what, 3?
Yeah, well, I mean, not, the 5 that the DeFeos had, but yeah. So, they move in, and then immediately,
According to them, shit starts getting real. And, wow, I don't even know where to start about all of this, but actually they bought this house for $80,000. Guys, this house is probably like twice the size of my house, and I bought mine for $82,000. And I know you people like in like Nashville and like California are all like, you bought your house for $82,000. Yeah, Kentucky, especially, well, actually in Moorhead, we probably have higher property costs than most areas around us because we're a college town. I think yours is higher than mine.
Yeah, because we're a college town and I'm within walking distance to campus. But I mean, like, if you moved farther out, you could get...
There's a house on that block, just a couple doors down from 108 Ocean Avenue, that is on the market right now for $569,000.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, look, this house has an in-ground pool and its own private boat ramp, or own private boat launch. And it's big enough for 5 kids and 2 parents. Yeah. It's, they got a steal for it.
Even in that time period, that's only like the 70s. Even in, the 70s, that was a steal of a deal for that house in that neighborhood.
This was a year before I was born.
You're old.
In that time period. Okay.
Oh, Lord.
So, George said that he is woken up every morning at 3:15 a.m.
Which apparently is around the same time that Butch murdered his family.
Right. Kathy and the boys, Daniel and Christopher, say they saw slime oozing from the wall and would repeatedly see a pig-like creature in the house. And someone staring at them from the upstairs window when they were outside. See, the windows in this house, like, they totally ruined it for me. They apparently brought a priest to the house to bless it, but the priest said he thinks that he heard voices telling him to get out. And the voices told the family not to sleep in a particular room.
You know, and this is my issue with people who live in haunted houses. If I heard a voice in my house right now telling me not to sleep in a particular room, if I heard a voice in my house right now telling me I better not sleep in a certain room, you know what I'd be telling it?
Fuck off.
I'd be saying, well, Ghosty, you better be packing your spiritual bags and getting ready to move out because we're going to be getting a cleansing up in here.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
I just ain't going to, I just am not going to deal with a ghost telling me or trying to order me around in my own home. And I have to expect to hear my boyfriend's voice from the other room saying, you better not sleep in here tonight.
I have lived in lots of haunted houses. And
you really do have to.
You have to live. I mean, it's your house.
Yeah, you have to, assert your dominance, so to speak. You can't let the spirits bully you around.
Right. Okay, well, these people lasted 28 days. And then...
That ghost ain't paying your mortgage.
Right. Well, speaking of mortgage, so... they were very open, very out about all of this paranormal activity that was happening, and basically would tell anybody and everybody about this. And the stories got crazy. Like, the beds would levitate and knives would be thrown. Although they did take a lie detector test and they passed, but lie detector tests are not accurate and are not admissible in court. So,
and with some practice, you can.
Right, you can beat a lie detector test. So, the deal is, this family was in a lot of debt. A lot of debt. Like, they probably could not afford this house.
Even though it was fairly cheap.
Right, even though it was $80,000. So their payment is probably like, $600. But I mean, this is the 70s also. Still. They, rumor has it, I'm not going to call them liars, but they concocted the whole story while drinking wine one night. As all the best stories come about while drinking.
And most of the best podcasts.
Yeah.
Except for ours.
Yeah, it came about while driving.
Don't drink and drive, y'all.
The last time this house sold, which was, I want to say in 2017, it sold for $600,000.
Yeah.
I would buy this house.
I would. And you know what I would do?
What?
Turn it into a ghost attraction.
I'd just live there.
Oh, I wouldn't.
Over the years, though, the house did get a different name. Like, they changed the address. I think the house is gorgeous, and I would totally live in it.
It is. I will tell you one of the reasons why I think that this is all a hoax. Because on the night of March 6th, 1976, a famous couple by the name of Ed and Lorraine Warren.
Oh, we know Ed and Lorraine.
Arrived at the house with their crew and a crew from Channel 5 News to investigate the house. I'm sorry. There's something about Ed and Lorraine Warren that has always struck me as very
fake.
Yes. And there's just something jarringly weird about every thing that they're connected to.
Listen, there are people who are extremely good at marketing bullshit. I'm not saying that Ed and Lorraine are really good at marketing bullshit. I'm just saying that there are some people who are really good at marketing bullshit.
Yeah, I mean, and they have made a lot of money off of these stories, off of books and
Right.
other oddities. And while
Unthinkable podcast, best podcast ever.
Yeah, I love it when our podcast gets taken over by fans.
and I think it just so many times Ed and Lorraine has came into cases and it's instantly, oh my God, there's a demon.
Right. Well, I mean, they are self-taught demonologists.
I think that they are self-taught fraudsters, in my personal opinion.
Right, I agree with you. I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah. The DeFeo, Ronald DeFeo's attorney actually said that, he is one of the ones who came out and said that, Kathy and George Lutz concocted the whole haunting over, in his words, 4 bottles of wine.
For amateur. I don't know.
It should be noted that nobody else who's lived in the house since has had any paranormal experiences.
Oh, no, they haven't. And, you know, there's been, 4 owners since it happened. They stayed 28 days, the Lutzes. I mean, there have been people who have lived there for years.
Yeah. And this, Amityville was really the case that sort of, and them showing up with the news crew, is what catapulted the Warrens into fame.
Right.
So it was mutually beneficial to everyone involved.
Yep. That this work out. Well, like I said, I mean, there are just some people who are really, really good at marketing. You can find, not that I think that you should, but you can find pictures of the crime scenes. It's, I mean, honestly, it's actually not as bloody as you would imagine it would be.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen worse research in this podcast.
Oh, yeah, definitely. The Wonderland murders was practically all blood.
No, that was hard to look at those pictures.
Yeah. I mean, I will add, not about the hauntings, which I believe are fake, but there is some evidence that may tie Dawn to some activity. She did have gunpowder on her nightgown, and
but were they able to determine whether or not that was like transferred from him in some way? Like,
right? Well, I mean, he could have moved her after he shot her.
Well, he probably had to have, because those gunshots going off in that house, people had to have been waking up. Right.
I mean, I kind of, for everybody to be found laying in their bed, though,
face down.
I don't sleep face down, but
I do.
I would just think that if he shot them at other spots of the house, there would be more blood. There'd be more blood spatter that we're just not seeing.
And
so,
I don't think that he was the type to have cleaned up well after himself.
Right. I mean, I believe he took a shower. I believe he cleaned himself up and disposed
I
of
don't think
his...
he would have cleaned up the crime scene.
No, I don't think that he would have cared enough about the people that he was killing to, worry about wiping down walls or bleaching floors. And I don't think that he did. So, I mean, I don't know, there was some blood, but just not as much as you would think.
Yeah.
But just because a murder happens in a house does not mean that the house is haunted.
No. Oh, actually, Holly, that house that I mentioned earlier that was for sale
Was their house?
That's their house. I didn't recognize it because it's the front shot of the house.
See, I always wonder why they don't use the front of the house in like publicity pictures.
No, it's showing that it's currently off market, but its current value is at $569,000.
See, that's awesome. I wonder if I could buy it if I won the lottery.
And it's gorgeous. No, I mean, I totally didn't recognize it because it's the front shot.
I mean, I don't know if I could
And
talk Ernie into moving to New York.
it also looks like they have modified the windows. It also looks like they have modified the windows slightly to make them not look like the...
They're probably petrified of those windows
famous
too.
windows
See, I'd
from
have
the...
to do that. I wonder if I could talk him into moving to New York with me.
From going through the pictures, it looks like they have taken out those two little windows and put a single window in there.
Oh, good. Yeah, that's those little half windows at the top that are just creepy. But okay, this is another reason why I think that it's bullshit. Okay, what does a pig and oozing slime have to do with people being murdered?
I think that they were trying to say that a demon must have drove Butch to kill his family. But
or it could just be a bad kid.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I think his motive was life insurance.
Yeah.
Most likely.
He didn't want to work. He just wanted money.
Money is a big motivator for murders. We know that.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anytime Ed and Lorraine Warren is involved in the case, of course, Ed is dead now. But I'm skeptical about whether or not it's
right.
And a good chunk of that is because they were tied to Amityville. And in my opinion, Amityville was a hoax. One of the kids in the house, one of George Lutz's stepchildren, said that the hauntings wasn't a hoax, but that it was that George Lutz definitely exaggerated what happened. And that George Lutz was dabbling in the occult. And that's what brought everything on. But he also said that he also called his stepfather a professional showman.
I'd go with that.
I could too. I think it's telling that this child, I don't have his name written down, Christopher. It was Christopher. Actually left home at 16.
Yeah.
And he said that he felt like he was being exploited.
Well, I'm sure.
In my experience, it takes more than just light dabbling in the occult to actually draw a spirit to you. Especially enough to make you flee your house in 20 some days.
Right.
I've seen and experienced some pretty freaky stuff. And nothing has ever made me want to flee my house.
Well, that's true. Me either.
I don't think that necessarily they bought the house knowing that it was the murder house, intending to do this. But who knows? They might have. This might have been their plan from the very beginning.
I kind of think it was. I mean, because if you live in a smallish town, and I don't think that Amityville is a huge town.
I don't think it's even a huge town today.
Right. I would say that that people knew. Everybody knew that this house had a mass murder happening.
Their population today is only like 9,000 people, so it's like Paintsville size.
Okay. You know what? And what I say about small towns, if you don't know what you're doing, ask your neighbor and they'll tell you. Small towns, everybody knows your business. Especially if you don't want them to.
That guy who went on that killing spree over the summer, I mean, like, he hadn't even left the first residence where he killed his parents, and everyone in the county knew who he was
and how to get him.
Everything about his business. It just so happened that the cops did not make it to him before he got to his next location.
Oh, that's so sad. Yeah, he used to be such a nice person. I mean, I would bet that what happened is they're in debt. They see this house that's huge and gorgeous, and they can afford it. Ish.
Barely.
Right. And then, there you go. $80,000. You don't even have to make your first payment. I mean, their first payment was probably not even due yet. And they move out screaming, for the lack of a better, phrase, bloody murder, that it's haunted. Look, they get a monetary windfall. It's a win-win for them.
So this all happened in 1975. The first book was released in 77, and the first movie was released in 79.
Yeah, they churned this out fast.
And by 88, the Lutzes had got divorced.
Yeah, marketing people.
So I think we're both on the same page about this.
My take on it is murder's real, haunting is not.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure there's probably some bad residual energy left over from the murders.
Right, but bad residual energy,
it's not the walls oozing goo.
No, people,
or
listen.
A demonic pig.
Light some white sage, do a smudging through all the rooms in the house, starting from the top, going to the bottom, and you'll be fine.
Yeah. Your walls will not ooze goo because of bad residual energy.
It will not. No. It
might make you feel like crap, but...
Right. Okay. A little tangent, because I know that new listeners love when we go off on tangents. I used to work for hospice. Great organization. Loved them. Loved my job. But I would see that I had this one patient that I would see, and her house was extremely near a dump site for bad stuff. And they said that it had all been cleaned up and that, it posed no risk or anything like that. But as soon as I got out of the car, I didn't even know where I was. Like, I didn't know that I was near that location. I just know that I pull in, I get out of my car, and I immediately feel like somebody is sitting on my chest. I immediately get a migraine. And so I walk into the house and I'm trying to take care of this woman, and I do what I always do, I engage in conversations, open them up, that kind of thing, because that's just what I do. and she was telling me that she moved in there to live with her daughter or something like that. And she was saying that she actually felt worse after she moved into this place because the energy was just so oppressive that she just felt like she had a weight on her all the time. And I was like, listen, I totally understand. I could feel it as soon as I got out of the car, like a physical weight. Although that would probably has to take a little bit more than just a white sage smudging, but you can get rid of negative energy. Looking at the pictures of the coroner loading up these bodies the night of the murders, I'm so glad that things have changed over the years. Like they don't have this body on a gurney or anything yet. He's literally just in a bag, and they're almost like dragging the person, him or her. I don't know, because they're wrapped up. It's crazy. That is crazy though, that the house is always photographed from that corner and not what you would think of as the front of the house. Wonder why that is.
I don't know, but the house is gorgeous from the front.
I know, like that angle is not even a pretty angle of the house. So anyway, that's all I've got. That, if your house is haunted, it's gonna be haunted. Like the people after you, it's still gonna be haunted then. But somebody dying in it does not make it a haunted house. Do we have a stupid criminal?
Oh, I'm sure we do. It's been a good week.
Oh my gosh, we actually have so many stupid criminals. It's not funny.
Okay, let's see. We've got man who shoots his cousin. He warned not to eat his potato chips.
Oh, that's a good one.
We got the woman who got arrested for making and selling fake inspection tags.
That one I think is really funny because Anthony totally got me on that.
You fell for it, hook, line, and sinker.
I know. Okay, I'm gonna do this one just because I want to mention that. So we have a group text, me and Heather and her boyfriend Anthony, and he just sends us little like stupid criminals and things like that we could probably use. Heather sent this. A woman in West Virginia, so like super close to me, she was arrested because she was crafting in her craft room.
For several years now, cops have been noticing and been stopping people with fake vehicle inspection tags.
Right.
And they knew they were fake because they all had the exact same word misspelled. So they knew they were dealing with the exact same person making these. But they couldn't figure out who it was. And no one was giving this person up.
Right. So, other than that, the stickers look really good. I mean, like, high quality crafting on her part. There was a traffic stop, and Cheryl Skybe was pulled over for distracted driving. And when they were talking to her, she admitted that she had meth in the car. So they searched the car, and that's when they noticed 15 fake vehicle inspection stickers. All with the same word misspelled. Mm-hmm. She also had counterfeit money. So they raided her craft room, and they found the printer and everything that she was using to make these inspection tags. Well, I said, man, I hope they don't raid my craft room. And Anthony said, hey, you got that license plate done for my friend yet? Well, I do license plates. Not like back of your car license plates, but I do vanity plates because Kentucky is a state where you don't have to have a front license plate, so we can have like a cute, monogram license plate or whatever.
And this is the South, so we monogram everything.
We do. So I thought, oh my God, was I actually supposed to do a license plate? It was early, y'all. It was early. This was 8:44 in the morning on a Saturday. I was not functional yet.
She starts freaking out thinking that she has missed an order.
I know. I was like, oh my God, what did it look like? And Anthony sends me a copy of, like, a picture of the official license plate. So, like, official car license plates, as if
Like
it was a
what
government.
you would see on, like state police or the governor's car.
Oh my God. So when he did that, I was like, shh, okay, you got me. I fell for it. I was just relieved I did not miss an order. But so many good, other than that, so many other good stupid criminals.
Like, naked man chases 2 around Palm Coast Chick-fil-A parking lot.
Well, I was thinking the big blue dildo too.
Yeah, let's do that one next.
Okay.
Let me find it. I mean, but literally, we've been discussing which stupid criminals we'd give you this week, like all week, because they've all been good.
It's been a stupid week.
This one comes from... What? Does this come from our favorite state ever?
New Jersey.
Oh my God, congratulations, New Jersey. You are our stupid criminals of the week.
Aside from West Virginia.
Yeah. If you've been following our Instagram, you know honorable mention is the 9 inmates from our county jail who tried to escape by old school tunneling their way out.
Guys, this is a jail. It is not a prison.
Okay. The borough of Mountainside is asking a judge to throw out a sexual harassment lawsuit filed against the borough by 5 male police officers and a female dispatcher, partly on the grounds of alleged misconduct in the department, including repeated displays of a large dildo
Named Big Blue.
was directed at both men and women. The 2 attorneys for the plaintiffs are firing back, accusing Mountainside in their opposition brief of presenting frivolous argument that breaks new ground for absurd employment defense laws.
Hey, that brings new meaning to Go Big Blue.
Yeah, apparently the police department is so small they have like less than 24 officers.
Big Blue Nation.
And that this misconduct goes back to 1998. They have videos of this stuff going on, including pranks that involve nudity, homophobic games, and racial slurs.
Yeah. So people, please don't display your dildo at work. Keep it at home. Nobody wants to see it. I mean, they may want to see it, but not everybody wants to see it.
Well, you know, there's a time and a place for everything. And that place for, you know, bringing out Big Blue is not at work.
Invite your friends over to your house and then show it to them.
I mean, but you know, there's also, you shouldn't be getting that close to your coworkers.
No, you shouldn't.
Because that just makes for ugly breakups. And lawsuits, apparently.
It's
So yeah, we'll report back on whether or not, how far this lawsuit goes, and
it should go all the way to the top.
And if, I mean, you know, I used to work for a sheriff's office. And I mean, I'm trying to picture my former boss, the sheriff, having to address something like this.
But you know, I can think of the deputy that would start it.
I I can picture him in my mind too. But I mean, I can picture my former boss just like shaking his head, going, and then calling for the office manager and his wife both to come in because he just can't even.
Crazy.
But yeah, there's a time and a place, and please don't be the person in your office that makes new policies.
For real.
You do not want a policy with your name on it.
In my job, I always tell everybody when a new rule comes about, it's because of something that happened in Louisville.
I mean, Louisville is like the biggest city in our state.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for listening. Check out our YouTube channel for more paranormal stories. Check out my Etsy shop for, all your shirt needs. Also got Christmas ornaments listed. And if you don't see something that you want really, really bad, just send me a message. Let me know that you're a Haunted Family Podcast listener, and I'll work something out on creating something custom for you.
Yeah, I mean, if you want your favorite serial killer on a Christmas ornament, she'll probably do it for you.
I will. I'll totally do it for you.
If you want a Christmas ornament with our faces on it, that'd be weird, but we'd do that for you too.
Yeah, I mean, I would do it for you, but I don't know why you'd want it. But who am I to judge? I mean, have at it, people.
Follow the link that Holly's going to put in our show notes to our giveaway.
Yep.
Check out our Instagram page because we're funny on Instagram.
We are hilarious on Instagram.
Yeah.
Or as the girls used to say when they were little, hilarious.
I really think they were making fun of us when they said that, though.
I think so, too.
Okay, well, thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening.
Bye.
Bye.